Hello, Cap Rising. Welcome to Scopes Unshamed. This is for May 2026. So, at the start, what I'd like to do is invite you to go back and look at April. This is why. So, what I have found being a person devoted to cycles, being a person devoted to astrology, and being a person devoted to herself, tracking my experience in my journals, really paying attention to what's going on in my life so I can understand where I am and what's emerging for me. I find it very, very helpful to listen to astrological predictions, horoscopes in reverse. And so, what you can do when you listen to the April scope is that you can listen from the perspective of having evidence, of having lived through that time, having cultivated data. What did come up? What did you confront? What did you receive? What surprised you? What delighted you? What challenged you? You can go back and hear the magical language of astrology supporting you in reframing what happened with that magic. So, in this way, you can come into a deeper sense of, I understand the path that I'm on. I understand the story that's unfolding for me, and then receive the May horoscope from that rootedness. So, inviting you to go and do that now if you haven't recently. All right, let's look at May. So, one of the really fascinating things about May 2026 is that May 1st and May 31st both have full moons. This is very unusual. We don't normally have two full moons in a month. So I'm seeing it like we're in a hammock, and at each end, it's like the full moon is holding us. And what's happening is what's happening between the moons. These full moons are going to feel really different. So, one of the things that you can be tracking is noticing how those two full moons show up very differently for you in the month of May. So, let's start with the first one and we'll move through the month to the last one. So, on May 1st, here at the very beginning of this month, we have a full moon in Scorpio. So, we have a full moon in Scorpio every year at this time of year because it's the polar sign of Taurus, the sign that the sun is in. And full moons are always in the sign that is in the polarity with the sign that the sun is in. So it's really activating this entire polarity. And I like to teach the zodiac as really six polarities rather than 12 signs because it's just true. They tell a larger story when you can see the whole polarity. So the full moons bring these things up. So Scorpio is a sign of deep feeling. It's a water sign. So it often brings up those, like our access to like the deeper feeling underneath the register of feeling that we sort of normally are feeling. So when we say that Scorpio is intense, it's because it's high sensation to be in such deep feeling. And high sensation is something that, we modern humans are learning how to cultivate a capacity for because one of the things that has happened to many of us modern humans is we've been through trauma, we've been through a variety of experiences that taught us that feeling is dangerous, that feeling is uncomfortable. Plus, we were raised by generations of humans who were not very wise in feeling and didn't really have guidance in how to be wise feelers, resilient feelers themselves. And so we humans are walking around learning how to feel again, is basically the deal. And so Scorpio feels intense in many ways because it's a level of feeling that we are learning how to hold again. And it's really important that we do, in my opinion, because those feelings are connected to something very true. There's a truth level to these feelings that is part of why it's high sensation, because truth is high sensation. But this truth is how we come deeper into engagement with our own truth and being here, being alive here, that we want to live, that we want to speak, that we want to create from. This level of feeling that we access with Scorpio can feel very vulnerable. To be vulnerable means to be capable of being wounded. And that is what it is to be alive. It's to be capable of being wounded. And so, from my perspective, vulnerability is the doorway. Like vulnerability is the doorway to walk through if you would like to feel more alive, if you want to feel more fully engaged with the erotic, alive experience of being humans and bodies together. And it's vulnerable. So, practicing the vulnerability of one's truth is a practice that helps open the doors to feeling more alive. And so it is that this full moon may really like open, like it may really like open you into some of your caverns that may feel vulnerable. It may feel exhilarating. It may feel very erotic. It may feel like you have access to, like, well, the truth of it is this, like the truth of it is. And this information is really helpful because it will run through your system and metabolize through you. So now you're operating from a deeper place of yourself. And you can tap at that wellspring of energy that is your truth anytime you want, actually. We just get practiced at like not tapping at it because we're afraid of what we'll find there. We're afraid it will be too intense for us. So when we practice that intensity, we find that we have more creative well springs and we're able to share from a deeper truth that other people can register, recognize, appreciate, feel inspired by. We can magnetize from the zest of truth. So that may be really up as you are feeling into the kinds of people you want to be connected to, the kinds of people that you want to be bringing your way, the kind of community you want to constellate around you. You will always find that you do this most skillfully the more you're honest with the truth of you, the more you create from the truth of you, the more you speak and use your voice from the truth of you. So all of those themes may be very up, and just inviting you to sit back and appreciate it. Because with full moons, what I would say is full moons are really here to illuminate. They're not here for us to like do stuff, like we're not being invited to take an action with a full moon. We're invited to sit back, like get the picnic blanket out. So things are being illuminated. Sit back and take it in. Like, yes, these are the things in my life right now. Like, this is the truth within me. This is the truth moving through me. And this is the truth all around me. I'm seeing it. I'm registering this. I'm taking this in. I've got my notes. I'm pulling tarot cards so that I can learn. So, welcome to the month of May. um, we get to get really close to this energy that's very alive. And then for you, you can then begin to really take that into your creative life. You have Taurus in the house that we associate with creativity. And so, whatever got, whatever spurted out, blurted out, popped out over that full moon, take it to your cauldron, take it to your workshop, take it to the studio and create from it. Take it to the playground, play with it. Like, this is zest for your creative life. And in the process of moving through May, really on the piggyback of April, you may have found that everything that you're learning is bringing you to what I call an emergent no, NO. So I created this framework on the Emergent No because I noticed that not every no is a fuck no. I wish it was. That would be really nice because fuck no's are clear. They're straightforward. They're even exciting and exhilarating. We get to boast about it. The emergent no doesn't feel that way. So let me describe it for you. The emergent no is a no that's under the surface of our awareness. And I'm creating this horizontal line for you here because it's representing like the ocean surface. So we're only aware and conscious of a part, like a percentage of the whole of us at any given time. There is a lot about ourselves that's in the unconscious. And that's what we can think of as under the surface of the water. So when we're standing on the beach, like looking out at our life at the water, we can only see what's above the water and on the surface. So the emergent no is the no that had been under the surface that now starts to pop up like, hey, hey. And we're like, oh goodness. There was intelligence to this no being beneath the surface. The intelligence was that we didn't have the capacity, we didn't have the circumstances, we didn't have the tools, we didn't have the resources to be with this no and the changes that are going to be moving through our lives from enacting that no into the world. This could be a no to a relationship. This could be a no to a habit, a way of talking to yourself, a way of thinking about the world, a way of just engaging with your reality, a limiting beliefs about yourself in the world. It could be a no to where you are, like where you live, or something about place. It could be a no to your job. Something is trying to be seen by you. I created this framework for Aries, Taurus, Gemini. And if you're like, okay, you're kind of freaking me out, Britten, keep talking. Um, I created a resource in the show notes called Abundance Begins with No. It's a workshop and a handout. It's free. It's a free resource I created a few years ago when this was like a more of a brand new, really exciting framework for me. Now it's just like integrated in everything that I do. But I created this workshop when I was like obsessed with teaching this because it was so helpful to have this framework for these no's that are a little trickier because there are reasons why we were invested in not seeing them. Usually it's because we have spent a lot of time caring for something that maybe now we have a no to. Maybe we've invested our whole worldview around believing the things that we're now ready to say no to. You know, if it's relational, that's brings up a lot because it's going to mean updating or endings with certain relationships. So these come with grief. You know, these come with, am I doing the right thing? And we try to like pros and cons it, or like we just wish like something could come up that would help us feel more empowered and have permission to put this no through. But it's shame that has us not trusting ourselves. It's shame that has us believing we don't have permission to move on what we know is true, which is that this thing is really over for us, or at least the way we've been dealing with it is done. We're like, this way is over for me. And so the Emergent No workshop and PDF is for you to like notice the subtleties around this because it's very energetic and emotional. And these are parts of life that we haven't had as much training on as humans. So I've created a way for you to navigate some of this, feeling more empowered to be able to listen to yourself and like take the scepter and enact the no that needs to be enacted. So that's gonna be kind of by mid-May, you are gonna have some real clarity here. That doesn't mean, let me just say, this doesn't mean that you immediately go into action on your no. What it can mean is that you make a commitment to stay conscious of this. You make a commitment with yourself, like, I'm not ready to like quit the job or whatever it is today, but I'm committing to myself that I'm going to stay connected to the fact that things need updating here. And over time, I'm going to be accumulating resources and tools and teachers and guides that are going to help me feel strong for what I'm sensing needs to happen, right? So like that's the goal, is by the new moon on the 16th. By the new moon on the 16th, the commitment is to be with the truth of yourself. It doesn't have to mean impulsive action. It just means I'm making a commitment to myself to be with what is real and true in my life, to keep my life alive by releasing what is clearly no longer working for me. We do this every spring. Thank you, Taurus. Taurus being so connected to like my values, and from who you are today, which is not the same person you were when you got into that contract with reality that you're now needing to update. From who I am today, my preferences, what matters to me, my values, I'm going to use my voice, which is choices. Voice is choices, how you choose to engage with reality. I'm going to hear myself say to myself through Taurus rules the throat and vocal cords, no, no more. Or like, I'm attending to this. I've got this. I can rely on myself to see this through across time as I have strength for it. All right. If you want support, free resource in the show notes. All right. Okay, so that's kind of like big. A lot of that process can feel like wrestly wrangly, because whenever we know we need to make a shift, there starts to be this like buildup of energy, like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to decide, I need to make a cut, I need to choose a path. Like that energy is important. We're like moving through a process of resistance so that we can come out beyond the chrysalis and be renewed. But the process wants its time, and then we're off. Okay. So then mid-month, the energy shifts a lot. We have three planets, Sun, I'm about to sneeze. It might be four planets: Mercury, Mars, Venus, and the Sun. They're all shifting signs within a couple days of each other. So there's going to be this sense of like, whoa, second half of May is very different than the first half of May, which is great, right? Because now you're ready to move. That's what like Taurus is helping. Taurus is where we have to get clear. And now with Gemini, we move, and Gemini wants to move. Like this is a part of us that wants more movement. We're buzzing around, we're pollinating, we're metabolizing what just happened across spring. We're metabolizing what was happening in Aries season. We're like, whoa, not in winter anymore. That's for sure. So Gemini's this new energy where you're able to really move it around now, which I think for many of us can feel really good after kind of like the more torturous process of getting clear that is like fixed sign energy when we're trying to learn something from our lives. So there's a little bit more playfulness, a little bit more curiosity, a little bit, like razzmatazz that is available to us because like we just moved through a thing, and now it feels so good to be on the other side of that truth and that clarity and that sense of like, I know where I am now, let's play. So inviting that into your life. And then when we get to when we get to Gemini for you, what we're looking at is concerns around like self-care. Honestly, you have Gemini in the sixth house, which has a lot to do with energetic body health. Think concerns like how you sleeping, how you eating, how are you in relationship to like urgency, grind, um, like capacity, right? Capacity would be a great word for the sixth house, where like what is the relationship you have to there's a certain amount of time in a day, there's certain limits of the human body, and there's all these different things that I'm really interested in, you know? And like all these people I need to talk to move things through that I want to get accomplished. And if you're a really creative person, you know, Gemini likes things pretty nonlinear, so there's kind of like a lot. And so there's probably a regular return when you go to get to Gemini every year where you are noticing where you can fine tune your relationship to time, body, capacity, vis-a-vis all of your interests, all of your questions, all of your ideas, everything that you would like to experience while you're here in a body. And some of that can feel really good. And sometimes sixth house matters don't feel good because we're maybe realizing where there's leaks, energy leaks, burnout. Like we're looking at the consequences of our relationship to capacity. And so sometimes it feels great and sometimes it doesn't. So those things may be up for you. And you might feel like a big aha around this, circa May 22, because the sun, it will meet Uranus that's now in your sixth house. Uranus is going to be in Gemini for 7 years. This just shifted across April. And Uranus is a great awakener. It's a liberating force, but it often really shakes us up before we would call it a liberation. So you may have some disruptions to your capacity questions. These are ultimately going to be liberating changes that you may see that you actually need to institute in your life. It could show up as being related to people who work for you because part of the sixth house is like what's serving us and also how we serve. And so even pets are part of the sixth house because a lot of pets across history have like served the family role in some way. So there's kind of a variety of things that can show up, but that week there might be a real illumination around what Uranus and Gemini is wanting to talk to you about. So just mark May 21 to 23 as like pay attention. Whatever the planets are going to be giving you in illumination, the wise guidance is sit back and pay attention. Like you don't need to do anything. You don't need to manage it. You can't fuck it up. Follow the signs. Follow like what is happening in my life. That is the planets actually telling me what I'm learning. The thing is that we humans just are often not paying any attention, you know? So it's just a matter of learning to pay attention and then like document it. So I think that week there's going to be several factors where the planets are getting your attention. They'll of course also be doing this collectively. So there may be like extra padding needed the week of May 20, that whole 7 days, where we're just like, okay, what do I need to take care of myself? What can I do to come back to myself? How can I protect the things I really care about seeing through right now? And what boundaries do I need with collective energy so that I don't get completely derailed from what I'm trying to create right now? And then finally, we get to the full moon in Sagittarius. So we have our final full moon on May 31. This is a really supportive full moon. You know what, that when we sit back and like watch the illumination, that sense of like, you're really gonna understand. important things about what you're learning. And because for you, Sagittarius is lighting up your 12th house, which is a space for healing, collective unconscious, dream, really like creating ritual away from the rest of your life, like to listen to divine, to receive downloads. Just get away from the automated or non automated stuff of your life and create some space for yourself to listen because you are being communicated to and you can receive when you make some space to really listen at that full moon. And I think there's going to be some understandings that will feel really good to receive if you make the space. So if you enjoy creating ritual with full moons, highly recommend. And a ritual can be as simple as just carving out some dedicated time and energy where all you're doing is being with yourself and listening to mystery. You know, everything else gets turned off, boundaries, they don't get access to you because this is for you. And yeah, that could just feel really, really, really magical and nourishing, that final full moon for you. I hope this was supportive. My 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 guidance would be to make a note for 2 weeks from now to listen to this again because then you'll really be in it and you can be like, aha, now you're hearing it really differently. And then I will see you at the June Scope Unshamed. Thank you so much, Capricorn Rising.